we studied about wind and we studied about water. Now let us look at biotic agents. That means agents are living beings, and therefore that's why they are called as biotic agents. Now you must have seen, especially when there are beautiful flowers, there are some agents, they come, visit the flower and go. This is always, we already seen, if you are aware of the environment, if you are looking at flowers often, it is easy to find out which are these agents. The first agent that we have in biotic agents is the insects. There are so many types of insects, especially the most common insect is the bee, honey bee. This is a very important biotic agent. If you want to get the fruit, then bees should be protected, because no bees, no pollination, no pollination, no food. And therefore our first biotic agent is insects, and therefore pollination by means of insect is called as entomophily. Entomophily means it is a pollination by insects. The second pollinators are birds. Especially in any videos you will see, and here also you can see the hummingbird. Hummingbird are one of the important agents also which bring about pollination, and therefore pollination by birds is called as ornithophily. Ornithophily. Similar to birds, we have mammal, one of the mammal, that is the nocturnal creature, that is bats. Bats also bring about this pollination, especially these are helpful in bringing about pollination in desert plants, mostly desert plants, and also other plants are there, mainly desert plants. Pollination is brought about by bats, and this pollination by bats is called as chiropterophily. Chiropterophily is pollination by bats. And also we have the crawling creature, that is snails. It also brings about pollination, and pollination by means of snails is called as malacophily. And therefore we have entomophily, ornithophily, chiropterophily and malacophily. So these are the important agents. There are also other agents are there. I have included only 4 for our study. Now, as we are studying about biotic agents, we should also study about the characteristic features of the flowers which are pollinated by biotic agents. What are the features? First feature is, these flowers are large, usually large, and they are colorful. I told you why colorful. Colorful because they have to attract these biotic agents. So therefore, when the flowers are very colorful, these are attracted towards the flower. Secondly, and most important, these flowers have nectars. That means they have sweetness. And therefore, because there is a nectar, these biotic agents go to the flower. They don't go to the flower because to pollinate. Pollination is not their business. Why they are going to the flower? To fill their stomach. Therefore, this pollination happens by accident, even without the knowledge of these biotic agents. Now, for example, when the honeybees come to the flower, they go and take the nectar. In the process, what happens? During the taking nectar, already the anther has produced pollen grains and they are already on the anther. Now, when the honeybees or any other insects tries to get the nectar, the pollen grain gets attached to its body. Pollen grains gets attached to its body, and then when this insect goes from this flower to another flower, the pollen grains which were attached to this body gets transferred to the stigma of that flower. Thus, pollination takes place. So this is the same process in every biotic agent. When we come to birds, birds usually don't sit on the flower, but they use the beak, and therefore the pollen grain may get stuck to the beak. And when in the case of bats, they almost put the entire mouth along with the tongue inside, and therefore it can get stuck to the mouth part of it, and when it goes to the second flower, the pollen grains get deposited onto the stigma, and therefore these flowers will have color and nectar. For example, if the flowers are too small and they are not visible to the agents, what does these flowers do? The sepal part of the flower becomes colorful. Usually the petals are colorful. Now in case when the flower is so small, then in such flowers usually sepal and petal gets fused and we call it as tepal, and that becomes colorful. Example, we have paper flower, bougainvillea. So what the colorful thing that we see, it is not the petal but the tepal. Why it is doing like that? Because its flowers are small. In order to attract these insects or any other biotic agent, they get colored. So this is another important feature. Then, unlike the wind pollinated flowers, here the number of pollen grains comparatively less, because the pollination is more or less ensured, because it surely one or the other agent will come to the flower in search of nectar, and invariably pollination takes place. So this is the 4 agents we have. We have insects, we have birds, we have bats, and we have snails. So these are the 4 main agents that I have mentioned which help in the pollination of flowers. There are other flowers also which provide floral rewards to their pollinating agents. Floral rewards means mutual understanding. That means if you do some favor to me, I will give you a reward. So in that way, one example we have is Amorphophallus flower. It is the tallest flower. It's about 6 feet height. In this, what happens? It provides a safe place to lay eggs to its pollinators, and then its pollinators pollinate and bring about fertilization. So this is providing floral rewards. Similarly, similar situation also we find in some species of moth and the plant called as yucca. Now this yucca plant and moth cannot complete their life cycle without each other. That means if they want to complete their life cycle, yucca plants needs moth and moth needs yucca plant. Why? Because moth lays its egg in the locule of the ovary of this yucca plant, and while doing so, this moth brings about pollination, and therefore if the moth does not lay eggs, pollination does not take place, because probably other than this moth, no other pollinators may not come towards this flower. Similarly, if the moth does not have a place to lay eggs, then it does not complete its life cycle, and therefore there is a mutual relationship exists in nature in order that pollination takes place. So far I said insects come, birds come, or snails come in order to take nectar, and meanwhile they also do the pollination. But there are some insects which come and take the nectar in such a way that they in no way participate in pollination. That means they come, take the nectar, and they go back, and in such a way that no pollen grain gets attached to it. Such pollinators are called as pollen robbers. They are called robbers because they are not helping the flower. They are just taking what they require and they are going, and therefore such insects are called as, or such pollinators are called as pollen robbers. This may be asked for 1 mark, and therefore remember what are pollen robbers. Now we know about this pollinating agents. Now what you can do is look around your house. If there are plants or even the trees, when you have free time, when you are relaxing, just look around and look at the flowers and just observe which are the agents, pollinating agents, which visit that flower. If you spend few moments with that flower, then you will understand how beautiful this process is, process of pollination. It is the interconnectedness that we find between these flowers and the agents. What we can learn? It is not only I live, I also let others live. I don't become selfish, but I become a sharing personality. I take and also I give. This is what nature tells us and teaches us. And therefore, look at flowers and find out for yourself in your house, in your surroundings, which are the pollinating agents that visit. And then you can name them and you can give the name. Either it is the flower undergoing entomophily or ornithophily, malacophily or chiropterophily. Then whatever I have explained to you becomes more and more relevant to you.